A frame is used for protection and preservation. So not only will a frame ensure that your mindset allows for you to be in a place of steadiness, but it will also show up in the form of protection and preservation. See, when people get to talking about the situations that you are coming in contact with, when people get to talking about your problems and the situations you are in and the trials and tribulations you may be facing, you might be in the middle of a storm, and when other people start coming around and speaking on your situation, the things that they say will not be able to sink in to your thought process. It will not be able to creep in and contaminate what is on the inside of you, because your mind frame is serving as your protection and your preservation. Even when you find yourself in a position, because you are human, where you have now become emotional, your mind frame will sit up and say, no, I have to preserve you. Do not allow for your emotions to contaminate what is on the inside. Don't let your emotions contaminate your thought process, because your frame of mind is serving as your preservation. It is keeping you on track. It is keeping you effective. It is allowing for you to stay in a position despite what you feel, despite what happens to you, despite what other people say, to always be in alignment with the will of God. Because being in the right mind frame will keep you centered. Being in the right mind frame will help you get back your peace when it seems to be that you are about to lose it. Being in the right mind frame will give you the words of wisdom to tell somebody who is speaking something that your spirit does not come into agreement with. Get thee behind me, Satan. No offense, you are my friend, but words are power, and I will not allow for you to speak death over my situation. God got me. My mind frame is protecting and preserving everything that comes out of me. And we back like we never left, except I'm the chef and the ref. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another episode on Fourth Quarter Pressure, where you are genuinely always the more and never the lesser. And as always, I am your host, the captain of this episode, CJ Stokely. And I am grateful, I am honored, I am elated, I am excited to be here with you today on a Thursday, as we have just crossed over the midweek. We have just crossed over hump day, and we're getting prepared to go into the weekend. And I want to make sure that you go into the weekend feeling empowered, feeling motivated, and walking in the authority that God has given you. So I hope you were blessed by Monday's episode. I hope that your week thus far has been going well. I hope that God's been bringing forth revelation in your life, that you've been moving and grooving according to the way that God would deem necessary for you to move and groove. And I hope that you are growing and learning from the things that you hear as you come in contact with this podcast. And as you engage from episode to episode, I hope that you are getting closer and closer and closer to being the person that God says that you are. So, before we go into this episode, I have a responsibility. There is something that I always must do. You know, I operate with precision. I operate with intentionality. And it is my intent for all of the people of God, all of those who come to the Fourth Quarter Pressure Movement and podcast, that they all have the understanding that we are not just kingdom ambassadors, but we are responsible for carrying ourselves, not just physically, but also what we put on as we carry ourselves a certain way. We're supposed to do that reflecting righteousness. You are the only Bible that some people will ever come in contact with. And will you be the proper inspiration? Will you be the proper motivation? Because I would suggest, and I would say to you, that it is a responsibility of yours to do so. So with that being said, I want to talk to you for a brief second about Official Glory Gear. It is not the number 2 or the number 3, but it's the number 1 made just for you and me, Christian clothing brand in the world. If you have not heard about it, now you're hearing. If you have heard about it and you haven't visited, well, I would like for you to go visit. And if you have heard about it and you visited and you didn't get none, I would like for you to go revisit again and go get you some, because it's nothing but greatness on there. Anything that's got G-O-D on it, and it's reflecting righteousness. Come on now. Come on now. It's greatness. So I need you to go over to officialglorygear.com. Pick you up some, throw it on your body, and represent the kingdom. And then, of course, for the hey ladies, we got something for you too, We got something special, something set aside, something set apart. It's called Edgy Chick, Where you're tough as nails and you're fine as wine. And then you say, yeah, God say that I'm his, or you get what I'm saying. I tried to make it rhyme, but it didn't work. Anyway, point being, go over and get you some, because it's a special line for the ladies. Again, that's officialglorygear.com. One more time, officialglorygear.com. Go check it out. All right. On this episode, and I'm going to try to be quick. I'm going to try to be brief. I ain't going to try to hold you too long. We're going to be talking about mind frame. Your frame of mind, your mind, the thing that should always be guarded by righteousness, the thing that should always be consumed with righteousness. Your thoughts are, in sense, the navigation system in which the direction of your life goes. Because if your mind is always dwelling on negative things, the direction that you will tend to go will be negative. If your mind is always set on righteous things, then the direction in which your life will go will tend to be positive and righteous. So God intends for us to carry out a certain type of mind frame, a certain type of mindset. And I want to dive into understanding more about the mind frame that we have, the mind frame that we should be in, so that we have the understanding of just how powerful our mind is, just how powerful our thoughts are. When you think about it, how many times have you sat up and throughout the midst of your day, you were dwelling on things that were not productive or conducive? You were dwelling on things that were not beneficial for your life. And yet it calls for you to either get behind on your responsibilities, it calls for you to be in a position of stagnation, or it calls for you to do things outside of what God would want you to do, or outside of what is conducive or beneficial for your life. You become ineffective when you don't check your mind frame. You become someone who cannot be productive when you do not have the proper mind frame. You may be looking at your life and saying, why have things not manifested for me yet? Why have things not changed? Why does it seem like I am always in a position where I just can't seem to get out of this hole? I just can't seem to climb the ladder. And although there is a multitude of things that play a role in the reasons for why, sometimes we got to start at ground zero. We have to start out the foundation of a thing. And if we look at the foundation of why sometimes we might not be able to move forward or progress or come up out of the position that we have been in for so long, is because our mind is not in the right place. When your mind is not in the right place, but you try to produce actions that make it look like your mind is in the right place, you will not be ineffective, because people can see that it's fake. God knows that it's fake. God wants righteousness and purity from you when it's coming from a true place, not you trying to put on a facade to convince people that you are someone and going somewhere that you are not prepared for and that you are not. Are you following what I'm saying? You have to ensure that your mind frame is rooted in righteousness in order for you to be productive, in order for you to be successful, in order for you to even get to the purpose that God has for your life. You got to have the right mind frame. So before we start going into thinking about or talking about doing certain things, you must first have the necessary mind frame to even be able to produce the actions to do certain things. Are you with me? So let's talk about it. So when we think about a mind frame, I want to focus on the word frame first. Let's focus on the word frame. A frame holds something in place. A frame keeps something in its place. When you think of a picture, it holds the picture in place, which means that it's steady. And a lot of times as we go throughout our lives, we do not have a steady mind frame. Because of what is going on in our lives and the things that we see around us, we have a tendency to allow for the external things to impact the internal, when in all reality, the internal things should be impacting the external. What is in our minds is what should reflect in our actions. And if we allow for the things on the outside to contaminate what is on the inside, then what we will produce that is going to be seen on the outside will show that we are not the righteous that God says that we are. It will show that we are not operating in our purpose and operating in our calling and being effective and efficient with our actions and with our disciplines. We are not focused on the things we should be focused on. So you have to understand that if you are going to have a certain mindset, that mindset has to be something that you keep within a positive framework so that it is steady. Are you with me? You can't let people, you can't let situations, you can't let pain, you can't let problems, you can't let issues, you can't let bills, you can't let trauma and death and the things that have happened to you before in your life get you outside of your mind frame. Because when you have the right mind frame, it will keep you in a place of steadiness. You will not be moved to and fro. You will not be thrown. You will not be shifting back and forth. You will not be lukewarm with one foot in the world and one foot in righteousness, because your mind frame keeps you steady. There is a consistency when you have the right mind frame, because anything that is steady is consistent. It doesn't matter what's going on in a room. If a picture is in a picture frame, that picture is not moving. Are you following what I'm saying? I could walk past a picture and blow it, and it fly everywhere. But if I put it in a picture frame and I walk past and I blow it, it is not movable. So the winds that come in the storms of life cannot move you and blow you off course. It cannot blow you off track. It cannot blow you out of alignment with what God would have you to be in alignment with. It cannot blow you outside of getting to your purpose. It cannot blow you out of the righteousness you are operating in, because you are steady and you are in the right mind frame. Are you with me? What else? A frame adds beauty to what already exists. When you think about something that is within a frame, a lot of times people will get frames because it adds beauty to what already exists. If I take a photo of me and my mother and my father and my grandmother and my grandfather, and we're all in this picture, the picture itself is beautiful. But when I frame it, it adds beauty to what already exists. Now, what you have to understand is that if you have the wrong type of mindset, if your mindset is not rooted in righteousness, then you will add a frame to the mindset that you have, trying to add beauty to something that is ugly. And then it will become pretty ugly. See, when you try to, you got to follow me with what I'm saying. When you try to add beauty to a mindset that is unrighteous, to a mindset that is carnal, to a mindset that God is not pleased with, then now you will be operating on a day-to-day basis as a contradiction. Because the frame that you have around your mind that is supposed to make it steady is not supposed to be something that makes it steady around something that is unrighteous, or you will steadily be in unrighteousness. What you will produce out of you will be steadily in unrighteousness, because now you have added a frame around something that is not pleasing to God. You will wonder, why is it my life has not become more effective? Why does it seem as though I cannot figure out what my identity is? And it will be because you have placed a frame around a negative mindset. So before you place your mindset in a frame and make it a mind frame, then you first have to ensure that the mindset that you have is rooted in things that are pleasing to God. Because once you frame it, it becomes immovable. Once you frame it, it becomes something that is steady. Once you frame it, it becomes something that is durable. Once you frame it, it will be. And the only way to change a picture that is in a frame is to remove the picture altogether. So if you first frame the wrong mindset, then you will have to do more work by going in and removing that mindset, removing that picture out of that frame, removing that thought process out of that frame. So within the framework of your mind, you first have to say, God, let this mind that be in me also be in you. Because if it can't, then I would faint because there'd be nothing left to do. Are you following what I'm saying? Before I even make sure that I am in a framework of mind, that I am in a certain frame of, I have to ensure, God, lead my mind, protect my mind. You put the right thoughts in my head. Let me dwell on your word. Let me read your word. Let me be in prayer talking to you. Let me fast. Let me do whatever I got to do to always be in your spirit so that when I am operating on a day-to-day basis, I have the right mind frame. Are you with me? What else? If we go into detail about understanding specifically based on the definition of what a frame is used for, we will find that a frame is used for protection and preservation. So not only will a frame ensure that your mindset allows for you to be in a place of steadiness, but it will also show up in the form of protection and preservation. See, when people get to talking about the situations that you are coming in contact with, when people get to talking about your problems and the situations you are in and the trials and tribulations you may be facing, you might be in the middle of a storm. And when other people start coming around and speaking on your situation, the things that they say will not be able to sink in to your thought process. It will not be able to creep in and contaminate what is on the inside of you because your mind frame is serving as your protection and your preservation. Even when you find yourself in a position because you are human where you have now become emotional, your mind frame will sit up and say, no, I have to preserve you. Do not allow for your emotions to contaminate what is on the inside. Don't let your emotions contaminate your thought process because your frame of mind is serving as your preservation. It is keeping you on track. It is keeping you effective. It is allowing for you to stay in a position despite what you feel, despite what happens to you, despite what other people say, to always be in alignment with the will of God. Because being in the right mind frame will keep you centered. Being in the right mind frame will help you get back your peace when it seems to be that you are about to lose it. Being in the right mind frame will give you the words of wisdom to tell somebody who is speaking something that your spirit does not come into agreement with. Get thee behind me, Satan. No offense, you are my friend, but words are power, and I will not allow for you to speak death over my situation. God got me. My mind frame is protecting and preserving everything that comes out of me. Are you following what I'm saying? So make sure that you have the understanding. Am I preserving and protecting within my mind the right type of thoughts? Or am I creating a mind frame that is protecting and preserving unrighteousness? Am I protecting and preserving things that do not align with the will of God? Am I protecting and preserving something that God would be pleased with? Is he pleased with my thought process? Is he pleased with the things that I dwell on? Because if it's not, you have to shift yourself. You got me. Let's keep going. So, what we must understand about the mind is that your mind controls your body. There are no steps lest your mind send the right signals. This is why you can be alive but be brain dead. This is why you can be literally breathing, body breathing, but your brain be dead, and they say we need to cut the cord. We need to take them off of whatever system they're on that is keeping them alive. Because without your brain, you become completely depleted. And you are not supposed to be walking around dead, because Jesus came so that you may have life and life more abundantly. So when you don't operate in the right mindset, you are walking around as dead weight. So you have to understand that if my mind is constantly dictating what I see come out of me and what I do with myself on a day-to-day basis, then I have the ability to take control of my life, of my actions, of what I do, of what I say, of where I go, and who I hang around with. My mind sends the signals to my body that determines which direction I walk. And if I want to walk in righteousness, if I want to walk in peace, if I want to walk in glory, if I want to walk in power, if I want to walk in authority, if I want to walk in abundance, then I have to first make sure that what is in my mindset, my mind frame, is in alignment with what God says is good for me. Because I have the responsibility of taking my flesh and beating it into submission. That's my responsibility. And because I have that level of control over myself, I then take that control and that authority. I get myself into alignment, because although I have control and authority, I then am submitting that control and that authority to whatever God says is good for me, whatever God has for me to do, whatever God wants to see out of my life. Are you with me? So we have to understand what creates the ability for movement is mind frame. What creates the ability for steps is mind frame. What creates the ability for success and progression is mind frame. Are you with me? What else? Now, what we must understand, and this is going to break down the layers of understanding what is dictated, what dictates the mind. See, you got to go deeper than just the understanding of, okay, my actions are dictated by my mind. But what is my mind dictated by? What has control of what is in my mind? Because I understand that whatever is controlling my mind is what will control my actions. Are you following what I'm saying? So let's go deeper into it. What we must understand is that your mind is controlled by your heart. See, this is why the Bible says, whatever a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. See, because when your heart posture When the heart that you have is sold out for God, when the heart that you have is guarded by the peace of God, when the heart that you have is rooted in loving God indefinitely, is rooted in you loving God more than anything else. When your heart is rooted in God, I'm all about you. I'm all about serving you. I love you. I love your ways. I love the plans that you have for me. Even when times look rough, even when things look like they're going south, even when I go through problems, even when I go through pain, even though I may feel what I feel, at the end of the day, what I will not change is that I love you. So when your heart is rooted in loving God, then that will allow for your mindset to always be centered on doing things that reflect your love for God. So you're always thinking about God. You're always thinking about God's plan for your life. You're always thinking of how you can serve God. You're always thinking of how you can get closer to God. You're always thinking about talking to God. You're always thinking about getting closer with Him. You're always thinking about what you can do to be the version of yourself that He wants you to be. So you have to ensure that you have the understanding that, wait a minute now, this isn't just about thought, because if my heart is not right, if I do not have a heart that is sold out on loving God, if I don't have a heart that is rooted in genuine love, if I don't have a heart that when God looks at it, He says, I love the way that your heart posture is, because God doesn't judge the outside anyway. He doesn't judge what we're gonna say and how we're gonna try to act. No, He judges what are the contents of your heart. Do you really love me? See, this is why the Bible says that David was a man after God's own heart, because he loved God. So when you genuinely love God, what will be produced from that is the mindset to match. And now you will be in a position where you have the proper mind frame that will allow for your actions to be the actions that God will have called for you to do. You won't operate in disobedience. You won't allow for people to come in and convince you of this, that, and the third if it doesn't align with your purpose. Whether it be your family members, whether it be your husband, your wife, your children, your co-workers, it won't matter. Nothing will have precedence over God, because your heart will be sold out for Him. And because your heart is sold out for Him, your head will always be dwelling on Him. And now the mind frame that you have that allows for you to be protected and to be preserved will ensure that your steps are always going in the direction that God is leading. Are you with me? Let's keep going. Last point. Told you I wasn't gonna have you here long. Last point, dog. Where you are and how far you go in your life will be determined by your mind frame. Now remember, your mind frame is determined by your heart. What is your heart posture? But what's going to come out of you is going to be reflective of what's in your mind. And again, I'll say it again. What's in your mind is reflective of what's in your heart. So your mind frame will determine how far you go in life and who you are. Who do you want to be? Who do you want to be? Do you want to be a leader? Do you want to operate in your calling? Do you want to be prosperous? Do you want to be able to go through pain and still be solid, still be steady, still be unmovable, still be somebody who is able to have joy and peace in the middle of all hell breaking loose? Are you somebody who wants to be able to do that? Because the reality of it is, if your thought process is, I don't want to go through pain in general, that's not going to happen. So you have to figure out how to move yourself from the thought process of, I don't want to go through pain, to, I know I'm going to go through suffering. I know I'm going to go through pain. It rains on the just and the unjust. You have to get to a place where you understand that. So instead of trying to find a way to make paying something that you can completely do away with, try to figure out a way to get yourself to the position where you say, regardless of what I go through, I want to be somebody who can go through the worst of the worst and still be effective. I want to be somebody who could stand in the middle of all hell breaking loose and still be at peace. Like the middle of a tornado, they call it the eye. If I'm standing in the middle of a tornado, they say it's the most peaceful place. So is it possible for me to be in my most peaceful place while everything is still going wrong? Because the only way to be able to do that is to have the right mind frame. And the only way to have the right mind frame is to have the right heart posture. So be somebody who makes the decision, God, help me to have the right heart posture so I can have the right mind frame, so that everything that I go through in my life, I'm protected. Everything that I go through in my life, I'm being preserved, because my mind frame is not naturally built. It is supernaturally built. My mind is guarded by your peace, by your love, by your righteousness, by your grace, by your mercy, by all of what you have planned for me, by your purpose, by your destiny, by your will. It is guarded by your word. It is guarded by your Holy Spirit. I am in the frame of something that is supernatural. I am in the frame of something that is holistic. And because that is my truth, I walk with boldness. I walk with peace. I walk with a smile on my face. Everything can go wrong and I can still smile. Everything can go wrong and I can still have peace. Everything can go wrong and I can still be kind to my neighbor. Everything can go wrong and I could still be effective in my marriage, effective in my dating life, effective on my job, effective in my personal life. I can still be committed to serving God. I can still be committed to reading my word. I can still be committed to trying to grow instead of my pain stunning my growth, my problem stunning my growth, chaos causing me to operate in a position of being catastrophic to myself. I will not allow the things that I go through to bring forth calamity upon me. I will stay in a position where I am reflecting Christ. I will have peace of mind because my mindset, my mind frame that I have is keeping me on the right track. So that's it for this episode. I hope that it really blessed you. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope that it was beneficial for you. I hope you understand the power of your mind frame. The power in framing the right mindset. Understanding that the right mind frame will keep you steady. Understanding the right mind frame will keep you at peace. Understanding the right mind frame will keep you protected and keep you preserved despite what's going on around you. And having the right heart posture is the root to it all. And you will see your life go higher, 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 and higher, and higher. Doesn't mean you won't go through pain, but you will see yourself go up and up and up and up and up and up. Your territory will become more. Your growth, your spirituality will become more. The table that is prepared for you in the presence of your enemies will become more. Are you following me? So, in short, you are always focused on carrying out, having the right mind frame, because this is the will of God. This is your responsibility. Do your part. Be effective. Keep growing. Keep being the best version of yourself. I love you. And as we always end this, you are always the more and never the lesser. And you and me, we are fourth quarter pressure. God bless you. I'll see you next time. 4QP family! This is a call to action. I need for you all who are blessed, who are impacted, who get motivation, inspiration, knowledge, and wisdom from this movement. I need for you to step up to the plate and show support. I need for you to donate so that I can keep doing what it is that you enjoy me doing, what it is that God called me to do for you. But this has to be a community. I cannot do this all alone. I need for you all to chip in, to pitch in, to put some skin in the game so that this movement can sustain, maintain, and keep progressing so that this movement and this ministry can expand. There are so many more souls, so many more lives that need to be impacted, that need to hear what God is saying. And in order to do that, there has to be financial support so that it can push the ministry forward. So please, if you have not already, all of those watching, all of those viewing, all of those supporting, all of those being ministered to, please go over to Cash App at $. This is for QP. Again, on Cash App at $. This is for QP, so we can keep doing what we do, because you already know we are always the more and never the lesser. And we, you and me, we are fourth quarter pressure. Appreciate the support.